Welcome to Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush.
Dave.
Man, my guy.
Yeah. You look good, man. You look good.
It's been a minute, dude. How about it?
Yeah, it has been a minute. Doing well, man. Dude, miss you. I see you rocking the Chicago shirt.
Absolutely. I got to all the time, man.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, and you got the cross on. I love that too, man.
Yeah.
Dave, I didn't want to. What's that?
I got my town hat on. I don't know. Like, look, I'm doing real life stuff right now. So my bad. I'm not a movie star. I don't get all dolled up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing what you see is what you get. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I hear that, man. This shirt used to fit, but the arms aren't, so I had to actually cut the back of the sleeves.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I say get in to fit in, you know.
Amen. Dave, I'm not going to take too much of your time today. I'm going to keep it real specific, just because.
You got time, brother.
Okay, cool. Dave. So a couple things. First off, I love and I appreciate you, man. We've been boys since college. One of the things that with Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush, you're one of the people that gave me the idea behind doing you gave me the idea behind doing a podcast.
Yeah. Remember, we had talked about doing it together just so we could while out, you know?
Yeah, man. And we still can.
No, absolutely. No, dude, I am completely ecstatic for you. And dude, it's dope. Like, I've been following it. I like it. I see what you're doing. What they say, people don't succeed because they don't try. And you did it.
Thank you, brother.
Man.
Well, I thank you, and I appreciate the support. I mean, you've had my back for a long time. You've helped me when I needed help, and you've just been there for me. You've been solid in my lifetime, and that's sometimes can be a rare quality to find in people.
You know what we need in this? We need a little bit of beat. You know,
yeah. and Gary on the kick drum.
That's right.
So, Dave, one of the segments that I want to do, just to touch on, if you wouldn't mind, was first, one of these things with me coming out with this Buckle Up podcast, man, my mom was thinking about going back to work at her age. I'm like, I can't have that happen. But another thing that broke my heart was my nephew, Mason, who I love to death. At his age, he's really young. He's still like, he's in his 11. He said, like, Uncle B, man, I don't know if I'll be able to go to college. And like, that broke my heart. And so I'm like, two things. One, I was like, I told my mom, because I didn't want to say it in front of him, I was like, the military could be an option, because I have my friends that I know went to college through the military. I know that you're one of those friends that went to the military through that's not how you started, but it's one of the things you did. So I literally got into gear, man. I figured out, launched this podcast. I was praying a lot. I heard my dad talking to me and said, hey, Brandon, you have everything you need within you. And I was praying to God. And so I worked on it, and I figured out, hey, I have everybody in my lifetime that I've been blessed to meet. I had that connection to all these people, and we have a big enough network that we can help others, not just myself, but we can help out as many people as possible. And one of the things I wanted to do was help kids, that next generation. A lot of kids right now, because you're principal in the school, I believe, right, Dave?
Yeah, an assistant principal,
Yeah, so you work with the youth all the time, and I know that you probably either worry or want, at least you've been a mentor to them and help them out to the best of your ability. Not just them in the school, but even doing your time in the military. So I was hoping, Dave, if you wouldn't mind kind of your process, I guess, going back to when you were in, would it be Chicago or was it Virginia?
I finished high school in Virginia Beach. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I went to Green Run High School, right there on, Dahlia, Independence. Yeah. I remember those, man.
Oh, so you're up there with the ballers.
It's my 30th year since I graduated.
Oh, really?
Don't tell anybody else. I still got my hair.
Yeah, hey, you do. That's a pleasure in itself, man. Allen Iverson, all those guys are up there from that beach. Those beach schools were something else.
Tidewater. It's a Tidewater area, yeah. But I still rock Chicago, large in part because I'm a Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, and White Sox fan. So it is.
Okay.
What it is.
Yeah. I hear that.
You gotta stay true to your roots, man. I don't care where you're from.
You do. I even says with your shirt, man, because that is a Chicago shirt.
I got tattoos with the skyline on it and everything. Yeah.
Okay. Heck yeah, Dave. Yeah. So, Dave, my question.
Hey, on a side note, just real quick, you talked about St. Michael. I got a St. Michael tat right now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, bro.
Anyways, I'll send you pictures of it later, but and then I got one on my back.
I'm St. Michael too?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of.
Dave, I am too, because my necklace is St. Michael.
I know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you that. I know that this wasn't the segment, but
no,
I didn't want to miss out on telling you about that because you had mentioned it earlier. So yeah.
Yeah, no,
Right,
Dave,
so-
we got time. I thought you might be at school, so I didn't want to rush everything. I was going to rush as much as possible.
Yeah, no worries. It's the end of the day. So, all right, bro. Let me start off with saying that I'm not on a podium. This is not my soapbox. I don't speak for anybody else. I speak from the lens in which I experienced and I see, and I'm always on receive mode. Most people say I'm stoic because what they don't realize is I'm collecting data all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not a big cheerleader, so that kind of confuses people. However, I'm a happy dude, and I love making jokes and I love watching people laugh. But when it comes to life, I take it serious. When it comes to feeling like I don't know enough,
Yeah.
I'm either learning, reading, watching, listening, because I don't think we do that enough.
Mm-hmm.
So my take on the military. Let me start off by saying civil service is important for everybody. Why? Because most people don't understand what they're supporting, right? Everybody looks for some sort of, I wouldn't say, what's the best way to say this? Like when you think about what's my next step in high school, you're a high school kid, you're like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to pay for college.
Yeah.
I'd like for somebody else to pay for college. I don't want to join the military because I feel like it's too hard, or I don't want to be told what to do. Like, I'm going to work at Starbucks for the rest of my life. And I give that as an example, not because Starbucks only. It could be Red Lobster. I don't really care what it's
Yeah, no, I get
you. And and I thought about the same thing, man. I worked in the retail industry, food and beverage. I was in the restaurant, and that's why I went to culinary art school because I didn't know what I wanted to do after I separated from the Marine Corps after almost 27 years. And I said, let me try it. But if you're not always finding something to help yourself grow, you start to atrophy.
Yeah.
Right. So when high school kids, they're not fully developed emotionally, right?
Yeah.
Decisions are going to be a little bit behind from an adult and a parent's perspective. You're asking them why, but in all reality, you got to remember they're still kids.
Yeah.
Right? They're still kids, and we often forget what we were like when we were children, and it's not easy because you want the best. I don't care how old you are. You always want the best for the next teenager to step up and lead us to the next, whatever that looks like, right? And we have this idea now of what right looks like, but what right was 200 years ago, what it was 100 years ago, what it is today, and what it'll be 100 years from now is all different, right? So as we sit today, I always explain to people that civil service is important because it helps you, one, get a foundation in your life as to where you're focused. Mm-hmm. If you can't get to college and somebody doesn't pay for it all the way, then do something that's for the community. Give back to your own community. Do something nonprofit so that your heart and mind is not always focused on hustling, focus on getting a dollar from somebody else who can't even afford to give you that dollar.
Yeah.
Right. And so there are many opportunities. You could work at animal shelters. You can work in the post office. You can be a firefighter. A lot of people are you could be police. You could be EMS. You could be, there's so many things. I think often we think about the military only because the U.S. government federally, unless you join the National Guard, federally will pay for college if things line up, right?
Yeah.
But legislation changes all the time, right? So what it is today and what it was when I joined, it's more likely different. However, there are some things that are similar. Let me explain. Yeah. If I had gone straight to college out of high school and I couldn't afford it and I was racking up all these bills, right? Debt, and I decided that I couldn't pay those bills. And I went to an Army or Navy or Marine Corps or Air Force recruiter and now it's Space Force. And I said, look, how can you help me with my debt? They would sit down with you and see, one, do you qualify for the service? Two, have you finished your degree? And if you finish with your degree, how long do you want to stay? Like there's all these plans, right? Then then if all that lines up, sure, you could do a 4-year service. Most contracts, if not all,
Okay.
and I'm not speaking on behalf of the services and what they're doing. I'm not a recruiter.
Yeah.
I was a drill instructor, but that doesn't make me all knowing. You have to do 8 years, four active and 4 inactive for your contract to be fulfilled, right? And inactive means you're like if we had a draft or you had to be called back to service, you're the first people they will call back because you didn't fulfill your 8-year obligation yet.
Yeah.
So you're mandated to retain your uniforms and probably stay in some sort of physical conditioning health-wise. It's been 4 years for me, so so things have changed. However, they're very similar, right?
Yeah.
So when I tell my high school students, and I don't call them kids, because high school is about preparing for being an adult.
Yeah.
If you're still treating a high school student like he or she is a middle-aged, like kinder, or someone in elementary school or middle school, you're failing them. You need to start holding people accountable in their preparatory time, not in the time that they're already living it, right?
Yeah.
Right. They're in the preparatory phase of being an adult. So I start treating like them like an adult now.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I calling their parents on every little thing they do, some parents are like, why didn't you call me? Because that's your son's or daughter's obligation to let you know that they did something wrong. I don't need to call you. It's not an emergency, right? Because we're preparing them for being an adult.
Yep.
Right. When they become an adult, it's too late at that point.
Yeah.
They don't have that relationship built with you now. It's over by the time they become an adult. That practicing time is gone.
Yeah.
You had 18 years to get this right. And if you failed at that point, well, guess what? They're going to continue to be the same person. Not because they're bad people, but because you did not condition them to be a particular sort of, or live a certain sort of mentality or lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So I think about the military. Now, what did I do? Now, I didn't have all my stuff together. I was a knucklehead in high school. I was doing things that were, keeping me entertained, vice studying. Right?
Yeah.
I can go into class. I could take a test. Like I did really well in that regard, but I never did my homework. Right? It was always chasing Dave down to do what he was supposed to do. Right? Once I joined the Marine Corps, I was held accountable.
Yeah.
I didn't know, whoa, this sped up really fast.
Yeah.
But I liked it. It was like my safety.
Yeah.
My safety net. You know what I mean? I was like, man, okay. It felt a little controlling. I didn't know, but because I knew where my boundaries were, I could function easier.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm very competitive in nature. Right. So do something, get it done and move forward. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of procrastinating and or it's either what they say, poop or get off the pot.
Yeah.
I'm not a 1 foot in the door type of guy, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
I'm either 100%
all
or not.
in.
I'm going to tell you straight up. But if you're the type of person who's not a type of, I'm committed to making that decision or I'm not, then you're going to struggle your whole life. I don't care what occupation it is, right?
You're absolutely right.
If you're on the fence of things, then you're going to struggle. So even joining the service, right? So when you think about people joining the service, one is you got to have a purpose. What's that purpose, right? Is it so you can get some sort of reimbursement for college? It's a good purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you no, because as long as you have that purpose, then fulfill that purpose. Stick with it, ride the path, and then if you want to deviate from that path after you've made your commitment, then do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But everything's about fulfilling a commitment. You know what I'm saying? So when I came across you, at this point, I had 11 and some change already in. I was 29 when I met you.
Okay.
And you just, what were you, a junior at that time?
I think I was a junior sophomore. I was a junior.
Yeah.
It was just summer junior at the gym, Strom Thurmond.
Right. And I'll never forget Bobby Bradford and I were like, yeah, let's just get a part-time job while we're in college. It's like, because Bobby and I are very similar in our paths.
Yeah.
And good dude,
Yes, I love Bobby.
But it's like all of us connected larger part because we had the same mentality.
Yep.
And it was, we were driven to accomplish something.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really know what that looked like. I had parameters. Like I was told what I had to go. You, on the other hand, were like, well, and we were friends because we believed in our purpose, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm being, I think, well-mannered, well-behaved, respecting each other, respect yourself, I respect myself. Like,
absolutely.
We're always going to have a struggle, but that's why we connected,
Yeah.
And to this day, like, I truly appreciate you because you're candid. You tell me exactly what I need to hear. There's no fluff behind your message, and that's huge. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth, but that's it.
I keep it 100, brother, all the time.
Yeah. And people say it, but you do it. And so I appreciate that. The other piece, when we talk about the service collectively, so when I went from enlisted to officer, because I think that was kind of an idea for you to think about.
Yeah. And we explain that process, Dave, a little bit too, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So each service is different and the legislation behind that changes from time to time. Like the program I went into is no longer available.
Okay.
And I'll explain that from the Marine Corps perspective. There's various ways to be commissioned as an officer. One is you straight out of college, go to a recruiter, tell them you want to go to officer candidate school. You sign up for that program, and you get a straight leg commissioning. There are some summer programs while you're in college that help prepare you for that. So you go for like 6 weeks at a time. You don't do the full 10 weeks.
Okay.
But that's one leg, and that leg is go college to be an officer.
Yeah.
There's another way where if you joined enlisted and your scores and your aptitude and attitude are reflective of somebody who can be an officer, if you're an enlisted guy, like say Bobby Bradford, for instance, and myself, and I'm using him, I know multiple others, and you probably do too, as an example, is that we went from being enlisted, and we're both staff NCOs, to applying for being an officer. Well, I didn't have my degree at the time. I had, close to 4 years, but I had enough credits. My program was different than Bobby's.
Yeah.
Bobby was a MESEPer. And a MESEPer is the Marine Corps Enlisted Commissioning Program. And what they do is if you have 0 up to 60 credits already, right? So if you have 0 credits and you apply and you have the scores and the attitude and you get boarded and they say, yep, this guy he fits the mold, right? The box.
Yeah.
Then we're going to send him to college of his choice that he gets accepted to. And he falls under an officer at the school, and they just manage him and his 4 years as a undergraduate getting their degree. Once they're done, they will be commissioned as an officer. All right. Okay. That's the second way. So you have straight leg OCS from college. The other way was the Marine Corps Enlisted Commissioning Program, where you go to college for up to 4 years. There are some deviations from that. Sometimes you'll get a 5-year guy if they're doing an engineer program or something.
Oh, yeah.
And then they get commissioned after. And then, and the Army Air Force is very similar too. They have programs that are very similar. They're named different, right?
Okay.
Because everything's an acronym in the government. And then you have the enlisted commissioning program. You're a Marine, probably a sergeant and above, with at least 4 years plus in service, and you have your degree.
Yeah.
So the Marine Corps doesn't have to spend its dime sending you to college. Right? It's fine. Well, they probably did something. They did something along the way, and now that everything's online, who knows? The Marine Corps might have paid for it, but they would have done it while the guy was working on, or the guy or gal was doing schoolwork at night, right? Okay. That's very common, right?
Yeah.
And my brother's doing it right now. Matter of fact, he goes to OCS next week.
Oh, holy smokes. Congratulations.
Yeah. He got his degree while he was on active duty. He would go to school at night, and he did his thing.
Okay.
And so that's the enlisted commissioning program. You still get boarded. They want to see, do you have the scores? Do you have the physical fitness requirements met? And then if you get selected, you go to officer candidate school.
Okay.
You don't go to college. I was under a unique program called the Meritorious Commissioning Program. similar to the enlisted commissioning program, except that I didn't have a degree in my hand.
Okay.
You got to have, at that point, you had to have so many credits. Then they send you to school up to 18 months.
Okay.
You get, and that's where I met you your junior year, and why we finished up the same year, because I had already had so many credits and blah, blah, blah. Right.
Gotcha.
So that's how but I get to go to OCS first.
Yeah, you did get to go. You were ahead of everybody going.
Yeah, I went to OCS and then I showed up to college because my program required that I finished OCS first. And if I finished first, then I get to go to college of my choice as long as I finish within 18 months.
Okay. Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely. Dave, how did you I just want to one quick you might say it in here. I just want to throw this here. How did you decide on University of South Carolina too? When I want to make sure that you hit everything, but how did you decide on Carolina out of all those places? Because you said you went to OCS first.
Yeah. So I struggled with that large in part because I'm from, I wanted to go back to Illinois. And, I thought I'm gonna go down there and at Florida. My dad was living there at the time. And then I was living in South Carolina. So I was in Beaufort. I was a drone instructor at the time. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was training recruits. I got selected for meritorious commissioning. And they're like, you need to, I had to do a lot of things, but one of them was select the college of my choice. Once I got selected, it was a weird process. So South Carolina, because I had done so many, I didn't know what I wanted to get a degree in, dude. I started off accounting, business administration. I stuck to the business side for the most part.
Okay.
But, and then when I got to South Carolina, they were like, yep, we can get you within 18 months, but you got to major in economics. I'm like,
oh, dude, that was the biggest failing class at Carolina, by the way. Well, economics.
I ended up doing top, like I graduated Omicron, Delta, Epsilon. It's basically like I got a high grades in there.
Oh, but wow. Okay.
I couldn't tell you. I can't spell economics, let alone, say I was successful with it.
Well, you were economics. So you ended up being an economics major?
Yeah, that was my major.
Holy
so I took a lot of fine arts classes like dance and theater, and I still wanted to act out,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I knew I was older than most. I was already 29, and I was already conditioned to be a different dude, like in my mind. So I was going back to college. I'm like some say back to Cali. In my mind, I'm thinking to myself,
I'm going back to college.
Golly, I'm going to college as a grown man.
Yeah.
In my mind, this is 20 years ago. Do you realize that?
Yeah. It's crazy to think, but that for me, Dave, the time gap. I still have memories from college. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, even though it is.
Because you're old, dude.
Yeah,
you don't want to be. And in my mind, I'm still 18, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes my kids think I still act like it, but that's okay. I'm living my finest life. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's the most important thing. Dave, one thing I want to touch on too, because I know you probably don't have that much more time, but
dude, I'm here for you. Tell me when.
Appreciate it, man.
You also don't want to lose the target audience. I'm not that attractive like you, so they'll focus more on you, not me. You know what I mean?
Hey, yo, redheads are in, man. Telling you, bro, you got it. And you got the beard going. I can't grow a beard to save my life. Dave, we had an amazing Bishop Susan on here the other day, and I talked about I talked about knowing my calling. Actually, before I even get to that, with going with your calling, Dave, I want to back up and mention one thing that you did for me, which is still important in my life, and it's something that I've remembered to this day. It's where even though I was in great shape, I was in great muscular shape, but when it comes to the anaerobic part, like the long distance running, I'm a sprinter. I run short distances. That's it. But one thing I had never really completed was being able to run a mile. And we were at Strom Thurman Center one day. You say, hey, B, man, why don't you just come up, run up with me upstairs? And in my head, I'm like, dude, I can't do this. I don't have the capacity to be able to do this. But you say, hey, B, just run with me. Man, you talked to me the whole entire time. And I didn't even think much about it. Then we stopped. You're like, B, you just ran a mile. And that has always stuck with me. One, thank you. Because you inspired, you motivated me, but the best way to lead I always feel is by out front. And you did something for me, which is I've carried throughout my lifetime. Something that I thought I couldn't do, I was able to do. I just had to push myself. But the thing is, it wasn't even strenuous. You managed to get me to do that. So I wanted to say thank you for that. But with all you've been through, where does that come?
I was going to say, man, and hold that thought. Give yourself a round of applause, man. I don't think you ever did that to yourself.
Hey,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's cool. I'll take it. You're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dave, but
I've never heard anybody say thank you for running me a mile. You know,
oh
like,
yeah, well, allow me to be the
want
first. Yeah, hey, I appreciate it. Allow me to be the first. Dave, in your time and everything that you do, because as I said, man, you're man, I believe, blessed with the Spirit. I do believe that. And the other thing I was mentioning about it being your calling, for instance, your calling, I believe, is to lead men and women. Not just men, but men and women. And you have such a natural ability to do that. I gravitated towards you and Bobby immediately when we met that summer. With you being able to do that, Dave, why I guess your moment in that time when we were running, what made you think, or I guess you've done it so many times, but getting people to push past your limits, I guess.
Yeah, the comfort zone is the danger zone of life, right? It doesn't matter if it's sports, it doesn't matter if it's school, it doesn't matter if it's you just a hobby.
Yeah.
Right. Or most importantly, work.
Yeah.
All too often I hear this crap. It's not my job title. Yeah. Hey, freak show. It doesn't have to be in your job title, man. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Try it. You might be good at it, right? Could you imagine the best pianist of the world never put his fingers on the piano keys?
Yeah, you're right.
Because he was either reserved or scared or say, not my thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't know you could run a mile. I mean, use this as an example. You got out of your comfort zone. You successfully did something you've never done in your life. You're an adult at this point.
Yeah.
And every day is a school day.
Yeah.
You can learn something every day, right?
Yeah.
I get out of my comfort zone sometimes to the point of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I'm like nervous because I don't want to fail.
Yeah.
But once I get over that hump, I realize, thank goodness I did it, right?
Yeah.
Because I ultimately believe, Brandon, you are not defined by the obstacles that are presented in front of you. Amen. You're defined by how you negotiate the obstacle. And if you sit there and reserve the idea that you can't do something, one, because you're lazy, or two, you've been sheltered your whole life.
Yeah.
Right? Or three, something in your brain housing group, right? This whole thing that we call brain, is not functioning properly. You're never going to develop. And I will go back. I will harken back to what I said earlier when I told you, those that don't continue to go forward with doing things start to atrophy.
Yeah.
They start to die in place.
Yeah.
Right? I know you've heard the adage, the commercial, man. I don't remember what commercial it was, but I loved it. And it stuck to me to this day. A body in motion tends to stay in motion, and a body at rest will stay at rest.
Yeah. Amen. Right? You're right.
Holy crap. Like, to me, that was one of the most moving lines I've ever heard, because I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then when you look back at it, you can only say it didn't happen because you didn't make it happen.
Yeah. Instead of blaming others. A lot of times people like to blame others. Oh, this didn't happen because of this situation. This didn't happen. Yeah. You had the opportunity. Don't get me wrong. There are outside factors that play a part, but you can make that choice and decision to push past those outside factors.
Absolutely. And dude, you've done it. Like the fact that you went out of your comfort zone to go to LA, try something different.
Yeah.
Well, that's a testament to your character. And anybody in the world who does that, they will find themselves in a happier place in life in totality.
Yeah.
You will continue to be approached with obstacles that are uncomfortable and different and something you've never navigated before, but you're not defined by what is presented to you.
Yeah. But
how you negotiate that obstacle. You can run away from everything, dude.
Yeah.
You can say, you know what, they're not going to catch me. It will catch you.
Yeah.
Lord being, and all things are possible through God, man.
Amen.
And I say this with all due honesty.
Yeah.
You can run your whole life and get nowhere.
Yeah.
Or you can move forward and be happy with the progress you've made, even if it's only 2 steps. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I don't do a lot of spiritual stuff to get me motivated. I do a lot of hands-on experience to get me motivated. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Let me go try it.
Yeah.
I'm a mess it up.
But at least you're trying.
right?
Yeah.
And so when I get into a room with Brandon Rush, and I'm like, hey man, let's talk about this. Like how did you? And then there's not anything people can say except for like technical science stuff. I really couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Be surprised though. I surprise myself every day, right? And I'd love to sit down and talk to some people who are really well equipped at doing some things like that. Like their brains are different, right? They use parts of it that I can't tap into yet.
Yeah.
I haven't been in that environment. But if I was presented with that environment, I would be all about it.
Absolutely.
But there's not a room I can't go into that I can't meet somebody, I can't approach them, I can't socialize with them, and I can't have a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right.
And look, there's not everybody's an extrovert. I get that, right?
But still,
there's a book called Quiet, and it's called Living in a Introverts. Essentially, it's like introverts living in a world full of extroverts.
Okay.
Right. And that book opened my eyes to the idea that okay, right. It's not that people are different in a way that can't be respected and or received well. So how do I negotiate those? How do I navigate? Sorry, wrong word. How do I navigate those characteristics? How do I navigate those differences? Just like, all right, this is a job I want to do. I want to open a business. I want to go become an engineer. How do I get to that point? I want to go be a movie star. I want to go be a DJ. Whatever the case may be. How do I ascertain that goal? And once I open my aperture, my window, because I'm educating myself on how I
absolutely.
Let me do it. And then when I do it, I realize, it's not what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And then I go do something else.
Yeah. Dave, I wanted to touch on one thing. So you said, I mentioned the fact about it being your calling. And one thing, I want to make it as quick as possible. Whenever I decided to go to Hollywood, I read a book called The Dream Giver that my mom gave me. It's a story about this guy that goes after this big dream he has. This is tying to what you were saying too. A quote of mine that I use to quote scripture is Isaiah 6:8, which is, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send and who will go for us? And I said, here am I, send me. I realized that my calling was that my dad had done it. He moved from South Carolina, Denmark to Delaware, where he didn't know anybody, didn't know a soul, by himself, and had to make his way with what he did. He was successful in that. I decided to follow my father's footsteps with being out in California. I knew I was 2,600 miles away from everybody. Acting is something that I wanted to do. New York was comfortable. That's where I wanted to be. But all the television acting was in LA at the time. So I went out there knowing the fact that this was my calling of what I needed to do. And I was going to figure it out, because if God could build anyone to do it, he built me to do it. And so I knew what the odds were, that they were 10%, but yet I still knew that I was going to succeed. I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I knew that I would succeed. And then now I've worked in New York. I've worked all over the United States. So with that being said, one more thing. I read a book on how to become an actor in Los Angeles and how to become an actor in New York, cover to cover, in the Strom Thurmond Center, because I was trying to prepare myself for what I would need to do to help learn. With that being said, Dave, I knew what my calling was, and now I wanted to bridge the gap between the West Coast and the East Coast, which now I've done. Now I'm able to work everywhere and just be able to put all these people together like we're doing with this show. How did you know that your calling was, Dave? As I said, how did you know what your calling was, I guess would be the thing?
Well, let me go back to why I chose South Carolina.
Yeah.
It was close. It was, I loved, 5 points.
Oh, yeah.
And I honestly didn't want to move to another state at that point. It was an easier decision. All right. How did I know my calling? I was a high school JROTC kid.
Okay.
And I could spin a rifle like crazy. Right?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I thought I was slick. Right. Like when you live in your own bubble, like if you're the best wide receiver on your football team, you think everybody's looking at you. But in all reality, they're not.
Yeah.
Somebody might be, but they're not all. Like they're not everybody's interested in you, right? I learned. It took me a little bit to get past that.
But you figured it out.
You don't know who I am. You know what I mean? Like, so because I could do that in high school, my recruiter got me.
Oh,
but
really?
I didn't do really well in academics and what have you. But I needed a strong foundation. And I saw the video. I saw like I could be a recon guy. It's like I'm gonna get on a boat. Like I like, he was like, oh,
Yeah, those commercials go hard.
First of all, because I already thought everybody could see me, so I'm gonna make myself a Marine, like the uniform, whatever.
Oh, their uniform's clean though, man. Oh, uniform's the best. Oh man.
So how did I know that was my calling? Well, when I went to boot camp, I did really well. I was like, man, I was getting accolade after accolade. And I really didn't have anywhere to go back to when I was done with my time. So I stayed in. It's like, so my calling was, it was a forcing function of life. Like if I can go live back with somebody else and have them pay my bills, then I would have done that. But I didn't.
Yeah.
So like I grew up fast as a child, given my environment. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle. And so I don't think I'm special in that regard. It's just those are facts of life. Mm-hmm. And so when I joined the Marine Corps, it was heaven. Like I knew what I had to do. I had food on the plate. I could go eat 3 meals a day. I had somewhere to sleep. I had a lot of people that were like-minded like me. We're all knuckleheads, with no focus, just a lot of energy, what I mean? And so our purpose, even at that time, as I reflect back on it in our conversation earlier about civil service, I was 18. That's not why I joined. I just had nothing else. I couldn't go to college.
Yeah.
And if I did, I was paying out of my pocket a lot. So that was my calling. And then because I kept doing well at everything I put myself into, that's why I stuck with it. Because I was like, well, this is clearly me.
Yeah.
Right. Goes back to the pianist. Man.
Yeah.
Why would the pianist leave the piano?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't need to go be an engineer. Like this dude or gal's got everybody listening. You know? Like I just love it. Like I always go back to that. Like, man, I think all of us have a gift.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And very few of us actually tap into it and stay on it.
Yeah.
Right? We smash it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There's a lot of athletes. Like athletes are athletes. Like being athletic is not your gift, right? You can, some people are more athletic than others. Some people are genetically set up for success. Some people, I've seen monsters who have zero, they couldn't bounce a ball or throw one or.
Zero. Yeah.
I'm like, you got all that height. You can't do anything with it. You know what I'm saying? And so you're like, okay, clearly like there are some things, some people, I look at, hey man, Spud Webb.
Yeah.
He didn't come with a 7-foot frame, it's like
ball,
but he could ball, right? So you look at like Michael Phelps, good, right? So when you talk about calling, like if somebody introduces it to you, you're lucky, right? And so as I raise my daughters, I just want to expose them to all things, and then they tell me I don't really like that, but I've seen one of my daughters I'm like. No, you're really good at this. You should probably stick to this. Yeah, but I don't like it.
Oh, really?
But you gotta like it too.
Yeah.
It's like I'll support you in all things, but it's like even with you, like I know you have a calling. I know this is you.
Yeah.
Like that's like I see it in you. You're more happy-go-lucky than most people I'm ever around. And so I see it in you. And so I'm always telling you, don't let up. Keep driving. Don't let up. It's like once it starts running, though, you might want to get the wheels on because it's gonna go fast. Like
it really is, man. It really is.
Look at this. Look at this podcast. Dude.
18 days, 4 million, 13 countries, Dave.
Listen to me. Wow.
Yeah, God's good, man.
This is a month ago. You and I were like,
yeah.
We could get on this and just BS our way through this, and
we still can, and we will do that.
But you took the initiative.
Yeah,
you did it, even though it was like in my mind. I'm thinking to myself, I love the fact that you actually did it. I'm like, man, can I get 10 minutes of my life back because I can do something like this, and bring it up to you because I knew you can attract people. Yeah, and and I thought to myself, why not? Try it. And look at you. You took it and you ran with it and you did
Oh
all the
man,
research and you did your homework
yeah.
and you're still modifying things for, obviously to meet your target audience's expectations and goals. I'm sure you get all kinds of feedback,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah, Dave. Honestly, because you know me, I'm just a down to earth person, man, and so are you. Like we're people, regardless. And
Yeah.
so I am get people. I've had so many different walks of life, and that's the thing because I'm not putting it into a niche, like a niche.
Yeah.
It's literally I have people that have impacted my life, not just mine. Because I asked my mom to come along. Not my mom to come. I asked her to be my, my co-chair. She has all these people, so I have so many movie people come on. I had a guy today working with Steven Spielberg right now. Called me,
Nice.
stepped away from working with Steven Spielberg, came out, called me, hey, Brandon, look, I'll come on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then a big time director too is not just Steven Spielberg, but the biggest people, even a Chicago cat too. I won't say his name on here.
Nice. Yeah.
He was working with all of them right today, but he came out and said, hey, Brandon, look, yeah, I'll do it on Tuesday. So sorry, Dave, I'm gonna get a little sidetracked from what your question was. I think I'm getting great feedback from it. It's also, I've realized that, man, I wanted to bridge that gap between the East Coast and the West. And then just with my career, we all can shine, man. The thing is called our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're more powerful than we can imagine. It's our light, not our darkness that most guides us, whatever. But it's like, the point of that is, who are we not to be great? So if my light's shining, why can't I help someone else put a spotlight on them that might not have that light or might not realize that they have so much they can offer the world. And so with this, it gives an opportunity for these people to realize, oh my God, there's all these people. Even in my movie business stuff, I'm doing behind the scenes people. I happen to have people like the actors and stuff, but crews are what run the movie sets. Crews,
Sure.
casting directors, casting offices, producers. There's a lot of people that don't get a lot of chance to get seen. So I have that aspect in there too. So me being that down, go ahead.
The question is like, those people you have.
Yeah.
I think where we fail all the time, I'm a firm believer in servant leadership.
Absolutely.
And others before self. Like I live that life. Like putting your people on here, like making them relevant. It's like it matters.
It
Like,
does.
man, it matters taking care of people. And this whole like others before self. Now, I'm not saying like I don't get up and brush my teeth first.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna feed myself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean in that regard. I think when people say it, I think they take it so literal, they're not understanding. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I take the moment to develop what I can, not because I'm a genius, but because I feel that if I leave this earth with requisite knowledge of life, my experiences, then I'm failing the next generation.
Yeah.
I don't care what they look like, man. I really don't care what they smell like. I don't really care what they get into. But if I'm not echoing what I've learned to prevent them from doing it, which I know we all try, man. Like parents tried with us. Hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
And but I like to give examples of stuff all the time so people understand that I'm not just saying it because I read it in the book.
Yeah.
I'm saying it because I experienced it myself, and I don't want you to have to experience it. However, there's something to be said about experiencing it.
Yeah. I know that's right.
Like you experiencing yourself is vastly different than me watching you experience it, and then I say, "Hey, don't do what Brandon did."
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. And then people are like, "Why?" I'm like, "Just trust me.
Yeah.
It didn't work out for Brandon. It won't work out for you." No, it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, I can sit there. That's why I always believe: get out of your comfort zone, go try it, go do it, fail.
Yeah.
Fail. I believe in that, and then you can tell people like, "Hey, I tried it.
Yeah.
This is why I didn't like it, or this is why I love it."
Yeah. At least you try.
Right. Because you might like it and I didn't.
Exactly.
Even though, so yeah, there's something to be said about what you've done, and bringing people back into the fold to showcase them as somebody just because they're behind the scenes doing the important stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you shouldn't showcase them.
Exactly.
Like, be proud of them. Like, recognize people. That's all.
Yeah.
Man, what they say. That's all that we want, man.
Yeah.
Just to be seen.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I don't need affirmation. The hell you don't.
Yeah. Dave, I'm gonna get ready to close it down but I want to say this one thing because Chad's gonna come on. I told because the piece what's important to me is helping this kids, the next generation too.
Okay.
Chad's coming on. I wrote Chad about
sweet.
I hope Chad about my nephew and then about I don't want to mention the kid's name, but my friend who's like, hey Brandon, how and he wrote me back. I hadn't talked to Chad probably in 10 years. Chad actually a little bit less than 10 years. Chad wrote me back immediately and said, Brandon, I'll come on at 4:30. So, but the thing I wanted to say was this, Dave. I'm trying to put people on. I'm trying to show them. Would you believe I've asked friends of mine, even some of us that we know mutually, and at the level of disrespect that I've received, but trying to just help them out. I wasn't even trying to do anything. I wasn't asking them for a single thing. And that's been heartbreaking, man. I have to admit, it's taken me back a bit because I'm like, man, you guys know me since day one. I've always been that straight shooter. I'm still the same Brandon from college. Only difference is my career has changed a bit, but I'm still that same person who is loyal. So that part has been hurtful, man.
But Brandon, loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
Right. But they say no good deed goes unpunished. Like you're doing it. Like all these phrases. I mean, the Bible, my man, was written for the people, by the people, because the people are the same.
Yeah.
The technology's changed. Our capabilities have changed. Our resources have changed to a varying degree, right? Things we do now, though, innately as a human being is no different than what they did 2,000 years ago. They just look different, right?
Yeah.
And so words were different, but innately you acted the same way, man.
Yeah.
That's why they came up with stuff to say, hold up, wait a minute.
We have this here in the Bible. It's happened already.
They did this.
Yeah.
They tried it.
Yeah.
They liked it. They liked it too much. So I'm cautioning you, don't do that,
Yeah.
And about friends and family who have treated you a certain sort of way, man. Hey, receive all of it, dude.
Yeah.
Take all of it in.
Yeah.
Take it in stride. Run with it. Use it as strength. Use it as motivation.
Yeah.
Because you're taking it as an offense, but they're taking it as a defense. Like they're protecting themselves from the potential exposure. Yeah. Right? Some people just don't want to get on here and do this, man.
Yeah, understandable.
Like they have a lot of skill sets. They have a lot of knowledge. They should be able to, but going back to what you and I talked about earlier, leaving this earth with the information you have makes you selfish if you didn't share it with others.
It does.
Right? And a lot of people are selfishly concerned that somebody else is going to take their job or their role in life, so they don't share it with others.
You're right.
And that's okay, Brandon. That's okay, man. You don't need everybody.
Yeah.
and I will tell you, the bottom 10% of society need to exist so that we can see the top 10%.
Amen.
Right? Amen. And so you're there, dude. Yeah. You're doing it. And haters, what they say, haters gonna hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hate.
Yeah. What movie was that?
Man, that's player haters ball. That's player haters ball. Man.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought it was Pootie Tang for a second. My dad loved both those movies.
Oh man, Dave Chappelle, I miss him, man.
Yeah, he's absolutely good.
Hate.
So I'm the hero of the year.
Yeah.
Yo. Yeah. But Dave, first off, man, I love you. You're a brother. I appreciate you so much for taking the time. The minute I wrote you, was like, hey, Dave, this is going on. You said, B, I got you, man. I can hop on in an hour. Dude, that right there, I love you for it. You're an amazing human being. I said, God's blessed you. You have a calling. And I thank you for just doing that. You said, hey, look, my friend needs my help. I'm going to go help him.
Yeah.
And that means the world to me.
We got you, man. Hey, I look forward to seeing all the things that come out here.
Yeah,
call me in. Hey, if I got to bring some sort of musical instrument to get this going, let's do that. You need to have something in there that, like, people got to know that we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah, we're fun.
I don't want to. Yeah, I just don't like. For me, when I think of podcasts, like I don't like listening to people who are preachy.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes I know I could come off like that.
Not at all.
Well, and I know because I feel like I really feel I want to get my message out, right?
We're going to. Yeah.
Right. But my point of that is like being preachy or being too much or, expanding on stuff that doesn't matter, And so for me, I I'd love to come on here and do these small, like bring other people in. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Let's do it. Make it a party. You know
Dave, anytime. Caleb Parker's coming on as a co-host. Caleb Parker,
We
Chitara.
need to do, yeah.
Bro,
Dude,
I love her, man.
You know what we need to do on here though?
Yeah.
Ad-lib jokes. Like
Okay.
some,
I'm
like,
down.
let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it like open mic night.
Yeah. Why not? I'm
You
all
know
for
what I'm
it.
saying? Have a little sip with some stuff. See what's
Yeah.
up, man. See what people are able to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all about, man. You've done great things. I know you got to get rocking and rolling, but God bless you, man. I love you.
You too, man, and your family.
You're gonna do great things. You're gonna do great things.
Yeah, I love you too, bro. And then Dave, anytime, literally anytime.
Yeah.
Like it's literally, hey B, you want to hop? But anytime.
Yeah.
We talk anyway, but literally anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right,
I'm gonna do it in pajamas one day.
Oh, that's cool. I don't have it here, but I have like a onesie. What's that?
I'll wear pajamas.
Hey, do it. I don't care. It's cool. All right, Dave. Thank you so much. Give your family your best, man.
Tell your mom I said what's up. Yeah.
And tell Nadine I said hello too, bro.
Okay, man.
All right.
Good, man.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep, one love.